The other big story of the day, you actually knew about this attempt to get and preserve information, and full transparency, we're doing some work yourself. Tell us about that.
Well, I was urging my former colleagues and frankly speaking, the people on the Hill. It was more actually aimed at telling the Hill people, get as much information as you can, get as much intelligence as you can before President Obama leaves the administration, because I had a fear that somehow that information would disappear with the senior people who left. So it would be hidden away in the bureaucracy, that the Trump folks, if they found out how we knew what we knew about the Trump staff's dealing with Russians, that they would try to compromise those sources and methods, meaning we would no longer have access to that intelligence. So I became very worried because not enough was coming out into the open, and I knew that there was more. We have very good intelligence on Russia. So then I had talked to some of my former colleagues, and I knew that they were trying to also help get information to the Hill.
A lot going on today.
Yeah.
Mark,
that's why you have the leaking.
Exactly.
People are worried.
Evelyn, what are your biggest concerns as we head toward November?
I mean, I think that my biggest concern, like all of us probably, is that there isn't a peaceful transfer of power, that there's violence again, as we saw in the last presidential election aftermath. This is something that no American wants to witness. And frankly, the other part of it is, of course, that there will be a lot of Americans who question the elections, and that will not go away even after the elections, even if there is a peaceful transfer of power. So again, all of the things that you talked about earlier with the secretaries of state about mis and disinformation. We did a poll, the McCain Institute in Arizona, of youth in Arizona after the midterm elections in 2020, November 2022. Found that only half of the youth believed that the elections were legitimate and the outcome represented the will of the people. That's just 2 years ago. So this trend is not likely to stop even if we have a peaceful election.
Evelyn, 30 seconds left. The U.S. is the gold standard, or supposed to be, for democracy. How is the world watching this moment?
The world is watching with a lot of fear and trepidation, Kristen. You know, they saw last time around, for the first time, as Anwa said, we had a violent transfer of power that shook our Democratic allies to the core. Freedom fighters, Democratic partners and allies are watching, and they're hedging their bets. They're very worried.
The Trump folks, if they found out how we knew what we knew about the Trump staff's dealing with Russians, that they would try to compromise those sources and methods, meaning we would no longer have access to that intelligence. So I became very worried because not enough was coming out into the open, and I knew that there was more.